If you want to know the smartest way to purchase a car and not get ripped off by a car dealer, this video is for you. These 5 tips I'm about to show you are going to be the most important tips that you could possibly have when you're buying a new or used car. First and foremost, the one that probably cost you the most money ever in a car deal, and everyone blames the car dealer, but it's not the car dealer, it's you, and that's because you got to know your budget and financing options. When I worked for a huge Chevy dealership, the amount of people that I walked in, we had 25 salespeople. Now, how many people do you think a day 25 salespeople talk to? If it's just one, that's 25 people, but it's usually 3 to 8 people per day walk into a size dealership that way. That's a lot of conversations, and people do not know this information. So you have to figure out what you can afford to spend. If it's a monthly payment, if it's an overall cost, whatever the case may be, you have to know, and you have to do that research at home, not at the dealership's lot. You're just gonna spin your wheels if you don't do this research at home, and you're gonna make the process more difficult. Not to mention, you're probably gonna open up yourself to overspend and possibly get taken advantage of by thousands of dollars. You've gotta know the math, and I can't stress this enough either, because people simply just don't know math. People come in like, hey, I need a $400 payment, but they're on a $40,000 car. That math doesn't add up. Not even at 0% does that add up. So this can count thousands of dollars on a car deal, and it also opens you up to higher spending. At the time of shooting this video, the average new car payment out there is $734, where the average used car payment is $525, and that's as of data as I'm shooting this today. And that means the average new car price is $48,397, and the average used car price is $25,571. And if you do the math of $20 for every 1,000, that means people are only financing $36,000 to get that $734 payment. With an average price of $48,397, you're more closer to a $1,000 car payment if you don't put any money down. You've got to know this. On that used car, you're more closer to that $500, $525 as it is out there. So that means people are probably not putting too much money down on a used car versus a new car. Ooh, 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 I'm so excited. Please pay no attention to the Halloween tree. We have finally gotten our first Toys for Tots. Yes, you guys are awesome. What do we got here? Ice cream delight? No way. Oh.
No time to explain. Attack.
No time to explain. We gotta go. And then, ooh, a Jessie. This is awesome. And a couple puzzles. This is awesome. Now, of course, you guys know you can just hop on Amazon and send it right here to the car store. So free shipping, obviously, from Amazon, stuff like that. This is, whoop, I just broke that box real big. And I really am sorry that I did that. And we got some Connect 4 and some Mattel games. So whoever sent this stuff, thank you. You guys rock. We're putting it in the box with your guys' name on it. Now, I think it's a really good idea to get pre-approved on a car loan before you go to the dealership, but you have to understand how pre-approvals work. They're not just like, hey, I'm pre-approved, I'm gonna go buy whatever I want. There's a lot of stipulations to those pre-approvals, and I think that you really need to get pre-approved by your local bank and credit union, because these Chase banks, these PNC banks, these Huntington National banks, all these city banks, they don't care about you. You're just a number to them. So there's a lot that goes into pre-approvals. Loan to value is a big one. If you're looking at a $30,000 car and it books for 20 grand, you're not gonna buy that car without $10,000 down, most likely. If you've got negative equity on a trade-in and you're looking at, hey, I got 10 grand negative equity, you most likely cannot roll that negative equity into a new car loan with your pre-approval. Even though you're pre-approved at 50,000 and you're only financing 40, if your loan to value does not add up to their specs, you're probably not gonna have a car loan. So also the years, the make, and the miles matter as well, not to mention the state you're purchasing the car in. If you're in Utah, literally just had this happen. If you're in Utah and you're looking at buying a car, that bank may not finance a car that you're buying in Indiana. So you gotta be careful of that as well. The second one is you've got to research the vehicle's value and reliability. You gotta shop when it's right. Looking at third-party websites, most of them use their own algorithms and come up with pricing. CarGurus has been a long leader in this space to come up with really good third-party data that's true and accurate. AutoTrader is owned by Cox Automotive, which also owns Kelley Blue Book Mannheim Auto Auctions, etc., and they have really good data as well. But if you look at them, sometimes they have different data based off of what they get. So you have to look at different car websites especially that used car of what you're looking for. Car gurus may say it's a good deal, but Auto Trader may say it's a bad deal. You can use that to get a good information on if you are really getting a good deal or not. Reliability, you've got to understand the reliability of it, because you can't just use JD Power as a guide. You can't use social media as a guide. Consumers Report is decent, but they're very biased. You can't go off of what your dad or grandpa tell you, because everything has changed in the world of car buying in the last 10 years. Every car is created equal until they hit 100,000 miles, but no car is created the same. So I would scour forums when you're looking at used vehicles. They love to voice their opinions, but nobody comes to the internet and says how great of a day they had with their car. Everyone gets on the internet to bitch and moan and complain about the car that they have, and you can't go off of that stuff because there's so many things going on out there that are so good about cars, but nobody believes it because it's not talked about. And the one that I love to stir the pot on, the myth of don't buy the first year car, is so old and so wrong, because there's so many awards coming out for these cars. And what year do they get these awards? They get them the first year. They don't get them the second, third, and fourth year. They get them the first year. So all the best parts, all the best technology, and all of the best ideas are out in that first year. Once the car starts being profitable is when they skimp on stuff. I like to use the Chevy Traverse as a really good opinion on this to show some facts. If you look at the Chevy Traverse at about 15, 16, they changed the headrest of the third row, and it was a really bad design, but what they did was save themselves a quarter per vehicle. Number 3, inspect the vehicle history and condition. This is so important, and yes, I get it that people are like, oh, that's a given, but you have no idea how many people don't look at this. It's extremely important to look at the Carfax and or AutoCheck. Some dealers don't subscribe to both. Mine, I do, because it's super cheap to have an AutoCheck subscription. So I do it for both because I want to ensure that I'm selling good cars. But you have no idea how many people I speak to during the appraisal process. Yes, the appraisal process of their trade-in. That means a car they've owned for 3, 4, 5, 6 years, maybe a year, whatever the case may be, that don't know they have significant issues on their Carfax. I've seen some cars with major accidents. I've seen cars with rollbacks, and they've bought these cars from reputable dealers and reputable franchise dealers. If you don't ask, they don't have to tell you, so you have to ask for that Carfax and the AutoCheck report. And nothing's perfect in this world. A minor car accident typically doesn't affect the vehicle's value much if you're trading in or if you're buying it, but you certainly want to ensure that you inspect that vehicle for damage. And Carfax is not always perfect. For my wife's Tesla, for example, it got hit in the rear end, but the Carfax says it got hit on the side. So it's wrong a lot of times, and that's why you have to do your due diligence. The level 500 IQ strategy with the Carfax to make sure you get the best pricing is ask the dealer for the Carfax with the value-based pricing. You have to use that terminology, the value-based pricing. If you go to Carfax.com, they will show you a Carfax with a price. And if that price is not lower than the value-based pricing that Carfax thinks the car's worth, that price does not show up. But that price does show up as a dealer that has that available to you. So ask how you can get the value-based pricing on that Carfax and make sure that they print it out for you. Number 4 is you've got to confirm the car's availability. Just like a couple of these other ones, it makes common sense, but not everybody does buy cars every day. They buy cars every 3, 5, 6, 10 years, so they don't know the trends of this stuff. And this is why it's so important to watch all the way through my videos, because I give you tips so you don't get scammed. So you do this by asking for a video. It's the only way to do it. Ask for a video. Dealers have video platforms that make it super easy to share a video. They don't have to upload it to YouTube. They don't have to edit it or do anything like that. They have it in their CRM, and there's also places out there called BombBomb video software, and there's a couple other ones out there that dealers subscribe to send videos to their customers. So ask for a video. And if the listing mentions something like special features or options or repair, say the dealer says they put brand new tires on it, make sure they highlight those things. Here's the framework of how you want a video asking for that. You want to make sure that they do a cold start on the engine for you, and then they walk around the outside, they show the body, the tires, and the wheels, and then they can go inside to show you that there's no warning lights, the mileage on the car, the seats, the doors, the automatic doors if it's like a minivan or something like that, or a push to fold down rear lift gate, sunroof works, other features like hot and cold seats, the infotainment system, stuff like that. Ask for that stuff to show. It's gonna be about a 6 to 9 minute video if they do it right. Could be a 15-minute video if they're not very good with video, but it's gonna be worthwhile, and you know that that car is on their lot based off of the surroundings that it's in. If it's raining that day, or if there's snow, there's no trees, you know, leaves on the trees, stuff like that. But it's super important to ask that, because right now, Rich, my mechanic in the back, does a lot of PPIs on exotic cars, and he's working with a dealership that has sold the same Porsche about 4 times. And he's like, do you know that they have a deposit on this by somebody else? Well, no. And so he is letting that customer know to not waste their time on that car. And during that video, you want to make sure you ask them to point out any imperfections in the vehicle. Imperfections are okay on a used car, because why? It's a used car. You don't want excessive imperfections, but a used car is cheaper for a reason. And if you want a perfect car, you've got to go buy new and probably spend $20,000 or $30,000 more. But even the new cars aren't perfect, so that's okay to have some imperfections in a car. And number 5 is to know when the best time is. And guess what? There is no best time. You have to purchase based on what's good for you, not anything else. Sales are fake. I don't care if it's new car sales or used car sales. The sales cycle are often marketing gimmicks, especially with the manufacturer. Truck month, Toyota-thon, whatever you want to say is a sale is fake and made up. Most new car incentives don't change throughout the year. Literally, January, February, March, all the way through December, I can work a new car deal and be within $500, even though incentives are huge and it's truck month or it's Toyota-thon or whatever the case may be. For example, back in 2005-06 era, General Motors came out with GMS pricing for the first time to the general public. It's employee pricing for everyone. And it's literally the best way to buy a vehicle. Well, they came out that on the first day of the month. Of course, I sold a car to a normal retail customer on the last day of the month. So that customer calls and says, hey, I got a bad deal. I want to return this and get the employee pricing for everyone sale. We did the math, and they actually got a $500 better deal by buying it the day before than they did buy it for employee pricing for everyone. And this just shows that the manufacturers are given incentives, but it's not always in the benefit of the consumer, which also goes on to, we can go down this rabbit hole, is do you really think the manufacturers are out to help you and protect you and you want to buy direct from the manufacturer? No, they're going to screw you over just like everyone else does it, but at least you have a local connection with the dealership to do it. Another awesome thing to know is to shop, or at least look at the car during the daytime. Looking at night, looking in the rain, not a good idea. This hurts you in the long run. You hear about end of the month all the time. That was cool 20 years ago, but not so much today. And then also the day of the week can matter hugely. I mean, you have no idea. Tuesdays and Wednesdays are slower days, and you can get more incentives and more working with that salesperson and that manager when they're slow versus when they are busy. Do you honestly think if you go in on a busy Saturday and they're selling 8, 10, 15, 20, 30, 80, 100 cars, that you're gonna get a better deal than when they're only selling 2, 3, or 4 cars in a day? Think about that. You're gonna have better deals on slow days, and Tuesdays and Wednesdays are the best days to do it on.